Bonjour, je m'appelle Evan Verlouvet et je travaille en alternance chez SNCF Réseau en tant que développeur logiciel sur un projet de recherche.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Mathéo Tatibouette, je suis développeur intégrateur Unity chez Enki Digital à Rennes.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Komchichevski, je suis alternant au département de la Marne en tant que développeur et analyste VR.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Enzo Valet et je suis développeur full stack chez Nextraining.
Nous évoluons au sein de la filière ingénierie de la réalité virtuelle et jeux vidéo. Nous avons eu l'occasion de travailler plusieurs fois ensemble sur des projets Godot et nous allons maintenant partager nos connaissances sur GD Extension qui permet d'utiliser Godot tout en s'appuyant sur des langages bas niveau pour les composants qui en ont besoin.
Godot est un moteur de jeu open source qui permet à n'importe qui de pouvoir créer des jeux 2D et 3D grâce à son langage GDScript, qui est un langage propre à Godot, fortement inspiré de Python. À l'origine très niche, il est aujourd'hui parfaitement capable d'être utilisé dans le développement entier d'un jeu vidéo. Cependant, le langage GDScript est un langage interprété, ce qui le rend moins rapide dans certains cas de figure. Le problème peut être pallié en utilisant GT Extension, qui permet de s'interfacer directement avec le moteur et qui permet d'utiliser un langage compilé comme C++ ou Rust. Le projet GT Extension a déjà fait son bout de chemin. À l'origine, la seule façon d'étendre les fonctionnalités de Godot était soit de les intégrer, soit même dans le moteur, soit d'utiliser les modules C++. Ces modules offrent l'intégration la plus profonde au moteur, mais cela oblige l'utilisateur à recompiler tout le moteur à chaque fois. On notera que le langage GDScript est techniquement un module développé de cette manière. Ensuite, en 2017, Godot 3.0 a introduit GD Native, une première solution pour intégrer des extensions sans avoir à recompiler le moteur. Le système est basé sur l'utilisation de bibliothèques dynamiques, c'est-à-dire les DLL de Windows ou les .so sur Linux. Les performances sont proches du C++ natif, mais les problèmes de comptabilité entre les versions et son manque de documentation fait que l'utilisation de GD Native ne sera pas aussi haute que ce qu'on pourrait attendre. La sortie de GD Extension arrive en 2023 avec Godot 4. Elle vient remplacer GD Native avec une architecture repensée, une meilleure intégration avec le moteur et un support natif pour créer des nodes personnalisées. La technologie continue de s'améliorer et est plus agréable pour les développeurs comme pour les utilisateurs. Ces derniers n'ont qu'à ajouter l'extension dans un dossier add-on de leur projet pour pouvoir s'en servir. On notera aussi l'ajout de documentation qui est disponible, aussi générée côté Godot, qui permet aux utilisateurs de se servir d'une extension de la même manière qu'ils utiliseraient les autres nodes intégrés au moteur.
Pour mieux comprendre les avantages et les défis liés à l'utilisation de GD Extension dans un projet concret, nous avons eu la chance d'interviewer un utilisateur expérimenté, développeur de Godot Steam, une extension qui permet de lier Steam à Godot. À travers son témoignage, il revient sur son parcours avec le moteur, les raisons qui l'ont poussé à choisir Godot et GD Extension, son expérience avec GDScript et le passage de GDScript à GD Native à GD Extension. Il nous partage également sa vision sur l'avenir de cet outil dans l'écosystème de Godot. Voici son témoignage.
To ask you, how long have you been using Godot as a game engine before working on this GD extension?
Um, hmm, Quite a long time. I remember, so I used to work a lot in Python, like I was a Python engineer. Um, and I started trying to make games and like with Pygame. That was probably like 2011. And then I ran into performance issues and I ran into Godot version 2, I think it was like 2.06 maybe. So like quite a long time.
Right.
And then shortly after I found it, I started working on Godot Steam. So Godot Steam's been around since like Godot 2. So it's been like 10 years, I think, about a decade.
Did you use other engines besides Pygames and Godot before, or?
I tried pretty much everything that existed. Like I tried like an old version of Unity. I tried Unreal, Ogre 3D, Construct, a few like the HTML5 ones. Um, and Godot just clicked the most because its GD script is so similar to Python. And I was, I had a background as a Python engineer. It was just really easy to transition into it.
Right. Okay.
And the
And
interface made a lot more sense to me.
okay, when you first started going from C++ modules to GD native, how hard was that?
Very. because when GD native came out, there was like no documentation for it really, right? Like, so it was like it was just new, and a lot of things didn't work the same. Like for instance, you have default values for your arguments in a function. GD native couldn't do that. So all the ones that were in Godot Steam for the module worked. We couldn't do the same thing. So we couldn't set any kind of default arguments. We also couldn't bind enums. There were some other things that couldn't be bound. And the code layout is completely different. So I had to learn how to rewrite a lot of stuff. Like a lot of the binds had to be rewritten totally differently. So it was kind of a hassle, like keeping that going. And there's no in-editor documentation. And I think GD extension like fixed all of those problems. So it's a very, not quite one-to-one with the module, like the compiled module, but very, very close. So I figure, I don't know, a few more versions, they'll probably have it like identical.
And so from what I gather, the fact that Godot is also an open source program, this is something that made you switch to Godot, like even though Godot clicked, is this something that really, counted in your choice?
With open source, yes, because then you can see the source code, you can modify source code if you need to. A lot of the other engines didn't work that way, like you couldn't change anything. And a lot of the licenses are not as permissive as like Godot's MIT license. Like Unity, for instance, it's, as far as I know, it's all closed source.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, right?
Yep.
So yeah, like it's being able to get into like the code itself and kind of like owning the code was kind of nice.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, I had asked you if you had tried or thought about using GDScript for the extension at the beginning. But yeah, you told me that's not for what you were trying to do with the Steamworks framework, that was not really an option, right?
Yeah, you have to, because we have to bind it with C++, and then translate everything over to GDScript, which kind of like what you were talking about with performance. We noticed like some hits with that. Like right now there's what is it? The get voice function, which is what translates Steam voice. Right now, how it works is it goes from C++ to GDScript, and then it sends back to C++, then back to GDScript a few times, like to do that translation of the audio. So all that needs to be rewritten in C++ for performance, because right now it's kind of going back and forth and it slows it down. And hopefully, after I rewrite this patch, I'll get it into the next patch.
And I saw that on GD extension now there's a documentation that can appear on the Godot side too. Is that something you're using for Godot Steam too?
Yeah, I think they added that in maybe 4.3 or 4.4, I think, where you can have in-editor documentation. It was a thing that was requested like a while back. I think sometimes it still gets kind of buggy and doesn't like populate correctly. It also could be an error somewhere in my XML files. I haven't really checked it. I think like the last version somebody said it wasn't working again. So I have to go back in there and figure out why. But again, it's the same thing. Like because they're so close, I can literally just copy it out of the module version, just dump it directly into the GD extension, and it just works.
Right. Okay. So based on all that, would you say you're confident with this tool set now? Do you think it has a great future ahead of it?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to, like I was saying, like when they are completely on par with each other. So we don't need to do pre-compiled modules anymore, and it's just purely plugins. I kind of feel like that's where it's heading. I know David Snowpack, I think, is either in charge of the GD extension stuff or leading it, and they've done like really good work with it. Like I'm always kind of excited every time they do like a new update for it and add more stuff. Yeah, it's really good for this kind of work, especially like what I've been working on.
Do you think there's a future where people who prefer to code in GDScript will be um, able, and that will be a good decision to use that for like gameplay purposes in Godot? Or do you think it's gonna stay something that's more adapted to like add-ons and tools for the Godot editor, but not really for like gameplay programming?
I think some people use it for gameplay. Because I know you can use it to bind other languages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've only ever mostly used it for tools. I don't know that I've ever used it for like actual gameplay stuff. But you probably could. I know like for a lot of like porting, it's used. Like I helped somebody build like an Fmod thing for
Yeah.
porting a game. Well, that's actually a good question. I don't know if I know anybody who'd used any stuff for games.
Yeah, do you think the usage of Godot and GD extension will grow?
It seems like it. Like I started helping them moderate the asset library probably like a few years ago, and just like through the flow of assets that come through there was at a certain number, but it's definitely gotten more and more,
Right.
which is very cool. So that means there's a lot more people using GD extension.
Yeah.
And I think as it becomes more like feature complete, you get a lot more people like coming in.